It is just a blast and extreme honor to be podcast interviewing Richard Grimmel all the way from Dubendorf, Zurich, Switzerland. It's just 10:30 in the morning here in Phoenix, Arizona. What time of the night is it there?
6:30 in the evening.
Well, thank you so much for spending the time with me after work today. You've been doing dentistry for 34 years in old Europe. You went to high school in Germany with 1 year in Bethesda, Maryland. 1978, a medical doctor degree, Hannover, Germany, School of Medicine. 81, a dental doctor degree, Goettingen, Germany.
Goettingen. That's the umlaut. That's difficult. Goettingen.
Okay, we'll just go with you. I will. Goettingen. Say it one more time. Goettingen.
Right.
Goettingen. Okay, Germany, University School of Dentistry. 1980s, early 90s, all continuums at Pankey, Dick Barnes courses, Jim Pride courses, Greg Stanley, Dale Carnegie Instructor. That is amazing. 2001, visit to Clifton Georgaklis in Boston, since then building and growing in Adult Ortho. 1983, started first practice in Ludwigshafen, Germany, under German mandatory social insurance scheme, lots of oral surgery, perio, general dentistry. Sold that in 89. 1990, started his second practice in Mannheim, Germany, completely private, no social insurance plans taken, focusing on the top 5% of the population, not under the mandatory regime, mostly restorative implants, perio. Sold that in 2003 and moved his family to Zurich, Switzerland, bought third and present general dentistry practice and turned it and built it into mainly adult ortho, married to the same wife since 1981. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to start with an off-topic question. Now that you've been doing this for 34 years, you started out in a dental practice and did all the common insurance schemes. And today, a lot of the kids are coming out of school in America as saying, what is the future of dentistry? I mean, are we all going to be working for corporate big box dentistry? Will there still be a market for a place like you 30 years from now? What do you think is going to happen to dentistry in Germany and Switzerland and United States?
Well, I think it's the same over here as it has been in the States. The female dentist population has grown tremendously. We have more females graduating dental school than males. And many of them are seeking to combine family and job, and they like to work in the bigger corporate environments because it gives them more flexibility regarding their work input, regarding the hours and they work, the times they take off. Of course, that provides a lot of flexibility, and so the chains have grown here in Switzerland too. And
so you think that's mainly writing a demographic change of going from an all male society to a half female society?
Yes, I think that is one very big reason. The other might be that people are afraid to take risks, and of course the risk is lower when you go as an employee than when you start out a business of your own. No question about it. Still, I think that there is definitely a market for the family dentist. There are niches that the big chains cannot cover, and that there is a future for even single dentists.
And now you're on your third practice, and you turned it mainly into adult ortho. And is that because ortho isn't really something insurance driven? Is that part of it?
Well, here in Switzerland, the system is a little different. The government takes care of you through school dentistry until age 18. And after that, you're on your own. So there is hardly any insurance for dentistry in Switzerland. Swiss people that maintain their teeth do not want to pay for others that do not. So even a filling is strictly fee for service.
For over 18.
For over 18.
And do you think that makes for a healthier industry?
Definitely, of course, because you're dealing with whoever is paying. The patient must pay, so it's between you and him, or you and her. Whereas in a system where there's insurance, you always have a third party that's involved and gets into the deal, finds reasons to make it cheaper or to do other things. It's been a pain doing that in Germany, and that's why I left.
So you left Germany mainly because of you're a dentist and of the dental insurance market?
Because it punishes the people who strive for the best and wants to channel everything into a medium and mainstream, mid-level quality.
And Switzerland's not part of the euro either, isn't it?
No, it's not. No.
And do you think that was a good move too?
Oh yes, it's not part of the euro, and it's not part of the European Union.
And
neither the currency nor the European Union.
So is it just going to kind of be an economic mecca as the EU has more troubles of trying to get everybody on the same page and the currency?
Well, I think right now, unemployment rates are about the same in Germany as in Switzerland. I don't think there's as much different, but the regulation is different. It's not as heavily regulated as the European countries are. The other European countries are.
And that's actually one of the biggest taxes on society that people don't.
Oh yeah, sure.
They always think of their taxes they pay in money. They don't think of their taxes in regulation, which is probably as big of a burden.
Yes.
So Switzerland's not part of the EU and of the EU currency?
Neither, right.
EU currency. And Britain is not part of the currency, but they're part of the EU?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think Switzerland's the coolest place I've ever lectured. I mean, you touch Italy, you touch France, you touch Germany. I mean, you're just at a crossroads of so many great cultures and civilizations, and you kind of get your flavor of them all. And I'm embarrassed to tell you that I went to Disneyland 2 or 3 times before I realized that the biggest roller coaster there, the Matterhorn, was actually an actual mountain. And I didn't even figure that out until I was lecturing in Switzerland. And I said, "Oh, what's the name of that?" They go, "That's the Matterhorn." And I go, "Oh, they have a ride like that, name that in Disneyland." They go, "Really, dude? You didn't know that?"
Well, you probably also didn't know that many of these rides are built by Swiss or German companies.
Yes. Yeah.
These really hot roller coasters like at Six Flags or Disney World. Most of them are built by European companies.
Yeah. So let's talk ortho. Why did you let's talk about ortho. What do you like about ortho?
I like about ortho that I dramatically improve the quality of life of the patients for the rest of their lives. I do only adults, and I know no other cosmetic procedure that will improve the quality of life of a patient as an ortho will do. There's just nothing else. You can do veneers, you can do crowns, you can do plastic surgery, but when you straighten their own teeth and they can keep their own natural healthy teeth for the rest of their lives and their smiles, it's just incredible. And you get so much positive feedback. It is, sometimes it's heartwarming when I get Christmas cards or I get a letter or I just get an email where people tell me that. Or when I see patients that I've treated years ago, they come back for a check and they're still so happy. Everybody tells me it's been the best investment that they did in their life.
I can't speak for Europe, Germany, Switzerland, because I'm from the United States, but in the 56 dental schools in the United States, the kids will graduate with very minimal training in ortho. Most of them will say, I've never put on a band, a bracket. I never Did
Yes,
anything? Is it that
exactly.
way? Is it that way in
It's the
Germany?
same. It's the same. I had to learn it all myself.
Okay, so you're talking to thousands of dentists, mostly 80% of the United States, the other 20% in 135 countries. They don't have any ortho training. Where would they begin? How did you start your journey? What do you recommend? What roads they
Well,
take?
I started my journey in dental school in my last year. I had a patient who had a canine that was on the wrong side in crossbite. And I sent him to the ortho department, and they said, well, this guy's 54 or something, and he's got perio. We won't touch him. No way is he going to get this upper canine out of crossbite. And then I talked to my professor in the restorative department and asked him, can't we find a way? They don't want to do it. You realize it's necessary. And, well, I built him a removable appliance that would cross over that canine. That was my first ortho case. And then I had a few later on where I needed pre-prosthetic ortho, and the orthodontists wouldn't do it. Line up a couple of teeth so you could get a fixed bridge on them or something like that. Where I then, had no other way than doing it myself. And lastly, as you mentioned, I visited in 2001, 2 weeks after 9/11. I flew to Boston and visited Clifton Georgaklis, who I consider the inventor of the 6 months ortho, the short-term ortho.
What's his name?
Clifton Georgaklis. It's not Georgaklis, it's Georgaklis, I think.
Georgaklis, Gackles?
Yes, right.
In Boston.
Giorgaklis. He's right near Boston. I visited him for a couple of days and found out about him through Woody Oakes' newsletter, Excellence in Dentistry. And I must tell you, it turned my life around. I was frustrated. I had done all the fillings that I needed to do in my life. I had pulled all the wisdom teeth that I needed to pull in my life. There was no challenge. And that was a challenge, doing ortho. So I started doing short-term ortho. And I don't think it matters whether you start out with PowerProx 6-month braces or 6-month smiles or Invisalign or any of their competitors or fast braces. It really doesn't matter. You got to get your foot in the water and gain experience. What I like about open systems like the one that Rick DePaul offers is that you need to work out all the specifics on your own and don't get it, prefabricated out of the box. Because I think when you need to place the braces yourself, the brackets yourself, the wires yourself, choose which ones you want to take, the training effect is much better. And then once, you finished your first easy cases, you can start more difficult things. Today, I do more than 70% lingual.
But before you go in there, I'm having a hard time finding this on the internet. Georgaklis, Gackles.
Georgaklis, yeah. Cleveland Circle Dental is his email, is his website.
In Brookline, Massachusetts?
Right, exactly.
Okay, I found this man.
1798 Beacon Street.
And you, because the reason I had to find him is because you said you think he's the father of short-term ortho?
Well, he's the one I heard it first from, and that was in 2000. So it's been a long, long time ago.
Amazing.
Okay, he did a couple of courses. He did some videos. He did he published a couple of articles in dental economics, I think.
Dental economics. Absolutely.
And he gave a couple of hands-on courses in his office, and I went to go there. Yes. So that was before all the others started.
You said you went there, what did you say, 2 months after 9/11?
2 weeks. The airport in Boston was completely empty. I mean, you
Oh
couldn't
my
believe it.
gosh, that was the
At the end of September in 2011.
that was a wild time for this country. I had never seen America take a knee before. And man, it literally got socked so hard in the gut, it took a knee. And you were right there 2 weeks later in Boston.
2 weeks later.
I would
The
just,
airports had just reopened a couple of days earlier.
they still have a big U.S. flag flying at the gate of where that airline took off from. I mean, backed out of the gate. I mean, you can actually see the terminal of where it backed out of the gate and took off. Huh. But okay, the next most interesting thing, I wanted to find out who that guy was giving credit because I would have thought you would have said Ryan Swain.
No. Much later. These guys are much younger.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but then you.
But for instance, for someone who wants to start, the first thing I would do, if you don't want to pay thousands of dollars in training, get the DVD set from Rick DePaul. I think it's $500. Get the DVD set, look through it, and it'll give you a basic introduction into short-term ortho. And once you've evolved with short-term ortho, you can try the more difficult cases.
Well, I'm sure Rick DePaul will not argue with that.
But it doesn't really matter for the young graduates.
So Rick DePaul is the PowerProx 6-month braces, and that would be www.6monthbraces.com. And you feel Rick's $500 DVD is a bargain to get into this?
Yeah, it's just like the DVDs or the CDs from Howard Farran's 30-day MBA, dental MBA. That was a good deal too.
Only for insomnia. I only made those for those poor bastards that couldn't get to sleep at night. So let me throw you a curveball. An orthodontist would, like Richard Litt, would say that before that you start learning short-term ortho, that you should first learn long-term ortho. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I'm neutral. I mean, it will help if you know comprehensive ortho, but it depends on what the market is that you're eyeing. If you're eyeing adults, knowing all about the kids' treatments and the teenager treatments won't do you very much good. Walk into a regular ortho office where there's 20 kids bouncing around. He's roller coasting from one chair to the other, and it's like a beehive. And then put an adult in there. And then look for instance at the statistics. I think it's less than 10% that the orthodontists in America offer lingual orthodontics.
So let me back up one thing because I don't want to put words in your mouth and I don't want to get neither of us in trouble. But would you say that a ceph tracing is far more important on a child who's 12 that you're doing ortho than adult ortho of a non-growing adult?
Sure. Yes, I would say that.
So do you think? So do you do ceph tracings and that whole workup on all your adult ortho?
I do, but just for forensic reasons.
Explain.
Well, I want to document this.
So you're doing it for what you could call CYA, cover your blank, having the records for your dental boards and for lawyers. Yes. But are these ceph tracings for adult ortho? Are they changing your diagnosing and treatment plan very often?
Well, sometimes they give you hints on what you shouldn't do. You shouldn't open the bite any further, things like that. But if you're mainly into cosmetic treatments, they hardly change your plans.
Okay, my next question is, do you see short-term ortho, adult ortho, moving to the lingual as we over the next 5, 10, 20 years? Do you see this trend advancing or kind of where it's at right now?
Well, I want to do this for another 10 years, I guess, so I hope it will not advance. I don't really see it. No, if I go to conferences on lingual orthodontics, it's always very few attendees, much less than I would think should come. And when you talk to these guys, many of them just don't care about lingual orthodontics. They say, "Come on, if by the time I treat one adult on the lingual, I can treat 3 kids. So give me those 3 kids. I'll have my assistants do most of the work. Why should I bother getting into adult lingual ortho?" Many are reluctant to treat adults anyway because their practice isn't set up for this. I mean, you can't treat adult in a big room with 5 chairs where everybody's bustling around. They need a bit of privacy. They don't want to. How would you feel in a field of kids?
That was the market signal I received in '87 that made me go sign up for Richard Litt's ortho course because men were coming in with suits and ties and briefcases saying, "Well, I went in there and I mean I was I felt out of place."
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
So
and
they
now
would
and now orthodontists where they had that quiet room just for the kid that was throwing a tantrum, that's now turning into their adult ortho room.
yeah.
Yeah. So exactly what you say. So is lingual. So let's talk about lingual. What system are you using? Why? How does someone learn this? And why is it so resistant to taking off?
Because it is no question more difficult than working on the buccal side. No question, it is more difficult. It's all reversed, and you have to adjust for the different shapes of the teeth. You want them straight on the outside in the end, but every tooth has a different morphology on the inside, so it is much more difficult. It really doesn't depend on which system you use. There are many around. You can either have one which you set up yourself. Some would be something like a 2D Plus from Foresta Dent, where you can get the single brackets and you can set them up yourself, or you could use something that's more advanced, computer designed 3D setups like Harmony or Lingual Liberty or Incognito or whatever.
But
the system really doesn't. It really doesn't matter. I mean, you need to learn how to work with the wires. You do that best from coming from the buccal side because you can see everything. But once you're well versed doing this, then I think you can start on the lingual. But it really doesn't matter whether you do adult ortho or you find another niche. What I think that the young graduates must do is find a niche, find something that differentiates themselves from all the others. Everybody's doing implants, at least here. Everybody's doing cosmetic dentistry, like veneers and stuff like that. That market is so hard to get your foot in the door that you need to find something else. Or you have to get a special way of doing this, whatever. You have to find a unique selling proposition. Only if you have that, you can make it in a difficult market. And I can tell you with about 300 people per dentist, 350 people per dentist, there's hardly a harder market than Zurich, Switzerland. Geneva is a little harder. There are a couple of people lower per dentist than we are here. But that's for every 1,000 people living here, there's 3 dentists. Can you imagine? And I don't think that there's, other than maybe New York, Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, and San Francisco, there's probably hardly a place where there's so many highly skilled, very, very competent cosmetic dentists as here. And dental technicians.
So do you think lingual braces also might be having a slow because of retainers, Invisalign? What's the other one? Is it Clear Choice or Clear Connect?
There's so many knockoffs.
I always get the Clear
here in Europe.
Clear Choice is implant, so it's Clear Connect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Clear Connect. Do you think it's because it's so much easier to take impressions and give you removable clear retainers than or Invisalign than to learn lingual fixed?
Sure, it's much easier, but I took one of the first Invisalign courses here. I've been an Invisalign provider since 2002. But Invisalign needs absolute compliance from the patient, and it takes much longer. Much longer. It takes maybe even 3 times as long as lingual. Definitely takes twice as long. And there's things that you cannot do. You're having troubles with rotations. You're having troubles with intrusions. You're having troubles with extrusions. You're having troubles when you have spacing because you cannot align the roots. You will just tip the teeth. So I ran into lots of problems with patients that would not be compliant enough. Especially young males. Those 25-year-old guys from the auto shop. They just leave them out for a couple of days, and then they'd come back one Monday morning and nothing would fit, and you'd start over again. When you go with fixed, it really doesn't matter. You have to keep control of the hygiene of these guys.
I agree with you 1,000%. I've gotten a lot of pushback from that, because I only know Phoenix. I don't know Phoenix, but I see almost all women will walk from here to Istanbul to look prettier. But so many of the boys, they come in, they look unkempt, their hair's matted up. You give them these Invisalign, and you know exactly where they're going to go. And I tell other people that, and they go, "No, I don't see that at all." But how could you not see this? The guy, he doesn't even comb his hair. How is he really going to wear these retainers?
Well, and also Invisalign. You have the lab fee. It costs you a lot of money to just get started. Whereas when you do it on your own, when you do it with like 2D Plus from Bethesda, then you have the brackets. They're like, I don't know, maybe $200 for the brackets and the wires. That's nothing compared to Invisalign cost. So you have much more of your total income or of your total gross of the gross intake. You have much more on yourself, and your overhead is much lower.
Now, Bethesda is the one you keep saying. They're headquartered out of Germany. They have offices around the world. Yes. Do they have courses? Do they have online CE courses for this?
I don't think that they have online CE courses. They might have some videos showing the system.
Do you know the CEO?
Yeah, sure. It's his guy. The guy's name's Foerster, Foerster.
Do you think you and him could create an online CE course on this for Dentaltown? The online CE market is huge, and I learned it because I was in Phoenix where University of Phoenix Online started. And I just got, I had one patient that worked there, then I had another one. But we put up 350 courses, and they've been viewed over 500,000 times.
I know. Have you looked at my YouTube site?
No.
I have 25 videos, and they've been viewed over 1 million times. Only on Adult Orthodontics.
And what's your YouTube channel?
Doc Grimmel.
Doc Grimmel.
DOC.
Why don't you know Howard Goldstein?
No, I don't know him.
So
he's the guy who's in charge for your CE courses.
Yeah, so I'm Howard at Dentaltown. He's Hogo at Dentaltown. Why don't you put all those YouTube videos together and make a course online for Dentaltown? It'd just be great marketing.
No, those are patient.
That's
patient-geared videos. Patient-geared videos.
So it's youtube.com/DOC Grimmel, Grimmel.
Right.
Okay. And is this a big part of the marketing to get Switzerland consumers to find your office?
Yes, I think that is extremely important. It is. As you said, the internet is fantastic, and when you give out this give out information so that people can view it in their home, and decide, are you believable or not? Is this something for me? Are you showing something that concerns me or not? When they can get in or get out at their will, that is very important. And that's something that all your young graduates should know. They should look up this girl, Julia Enders, who is a medical student in Germany and wrote a best-selling book on the gut 2 years ago. She started in medical school, building her USP and building her name. And I think you cannot start early enough. That's very important. It doesn't matter whether it's orthodontics, whether it's the gut, whether you I don't know, whether you Paddy Lund from Australia, the crazy Australian?
I do, and I've been trying to get a podcast with him. I can't find him.
Uh-huh.
I am on your YouTube channel now, youtube.com/DOCGRIMMEL, and oh my gosh, yeah, you have 23 videos uploaded.
Yes.
That is amazing.
And over 1 million views.
And
from patients, not from colleagues, from patients.
Yeah, what the hell? I mean, this is amazing. Some of these have 50,000 views on one video. And you know what? So talk about the marketing of that, because if you talk about a dentist and saying use the internet to build your business, first thing out of their mouth is Facebook. But what you're showing is YouTube is a monster too. What has done more for your business? YouTube videos or Facebook?
I have no Facebook page.
How could a man with such a handsome face like you not be on Facebook? So why are you on? You would think if someone had 1 million views on YouTube that they would be so internet savvy that they'd be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest.
Well, I want to have a life too, and you have to focus where you invest your time. And I'm considering opening a Facebook page, but I have no staff who would be able to attend this. I would have to do it myself, and I'd rather spend the time with my wife and kids than working on the Facebook page.
Man, you have one YouTube video that has 622,000 views just on one video. Now, do you buy like Google ads to promote your YouTube channel if someone's searching ortho or braces?
No.
This is just all organic.
No. And this is also not my office YouTube channel. Okay, so my office YouTube channel, where I have videos from patients who report on their treatment, where I have videos from staff, where I have videos concerning other dental themes like wisdom teeth extractions or things like that. Those are on my office YouTube channel and not on this one. This one is just adult ortho and just geared towards patients.
But don't you think, since Google owns YouTube, and since Google is about 80% of all searches are done on Google as opposed to Yahoo or Bing or what have you, don't you think that massively increases your search engine optimization when somebody in Switzerland's searching for a dentist or a dentist who does ortho?
Sure, it definitely will. Definitely does.
Absolutely.
I get a lot of patients, not only from Switzerland but internationally, from the YouTube channel or from my presentation on the web, from my homepage, from the YouTube channel, no question about it. And I think that's very, very important. And you talked to a guy from northern Germany, Stefan Klinger,
yes,
a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned that those people come into your office pre-sold. You know, they come in, they sit down, they said, I've seen all your videos, I've seen your galleries. I have, if you go on my homepage, on my office homepage, and you spend 8 minutes on it, you will see 300 before and after cases just flashing through. And he said those people are pre-sold. They sit down and they said, "This is what I want," or "Can I have this?"
And I heard this twice in my dental office yesterday, where a patient was saying, "Well, he had some before and after pictures, but it was a brochure. He actually bought the brochure of his before and after pictures. I want to have it done by somewhere I can see that person's before and after. I want to see the work that dentist did. That's huge to them. Do you agree or disagree?"
He wanted to have a before and after brochure from the dentist he was going to visit.
No, they'd gone to 3 other dental offices.
Yes.
But the dentist only showed them before and after pictures in a brochure that you bought. I mean, a paid before and after.
With generic pictures.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
and
I think it must be
your own work
that you have treated.
I know, it's huge.
And I ask every single patient that I treat for a release of his pictures to be used by me in continuing education, on my website, informing other patients.
Now, does that show their full face, their eyes?
It shows their full face.
And
yes.
what percent sign it?
I'd say 97.
97%.
It used to be 100%. It used to be 100% because I would tell the people, I will not do your treatment if you don't sign. And I had people walking out of the office. And one time, a guy came and said, "Listen, doc, I don't want to see my pictures anywhere on the web, but I want you to do the work. So there must be a way. There must be a price that you put on this." And I said, "Well, okay, yes, probably is. What do you think is fair?" And he came up with a figure, and I said, "Well, maybe we can bump this a little bit, a few hundred francs." And I was sold. I said, "Okay, I realize this. Some people are so hesitant, they don't want to do this. So these people have to pay more if they want to keep the photos in their own drawer and not release them."
I wish I had done that because my picture is popping up all over Calvin Klein commercials and all these male perfumes, and they never got any of my permission. I was never paid a dime. So I like to just get her done. I don't know how these thousands of dentists listening to this are going to learn how to put on lingual braces. Do you think you and that company could get an online course on showing how to do this, at least plant the seed in their head?
I can ask Thomas Förster. He's the CEO. I can ask him what he thinks. Yes.
I think that would be
I'll give him a link. I'll give him a link to this podcast, and then he can find out whether he wants to do this or not.
Because all the data in America is showing that online CE is just under an explosion, and
no question about it.
Closing your office down and losing $4,000 of production to go learn is a huge hidden cost.
It is so convenient. Yeah, no question about it.
Yeah. And the other thing that's amazing is they keep telling you they want to learn in hour increments. They don't like an 8-hour lecture. I mean, they're just...
Well, that's the whole thing, for the new graduates. I think the most important course that they can take in their lives is the Dale Carnegie course. And it's exactly what you say. It comes in small increments. And it's amazing that in about 80 years that this course exists, so few people have copied the concept, which is you meet for about an hour and a half or 2 hours with the group, and then you discharge, you get your homework, and then 1 week later you meet again. And you do this for, I don't know how long it is now. In the 80s, it was about 15 weeks. Maybe it's now a little shortened. Maybe it's 12 weeks. But for 12 weeks, you meet every single week for a little more than an hour, maybe 2 hours. Usually, everybody stays on afterwards. They go and have a beer or a glass of wine together. But that is that is much easier to learn this way. You're absolutely right, in small increments. And I cannot believe that it hasn't been copied more than it has.
It's just the basics, and I liked all the other ones you've taken. You said other ones I'm trying to. Dick Barnes. I'm trying to get him on a podcast. I love Dick Barnes. I mean, I can still remember him after the course, since I was fat, coming over to my house in my own kitchen, showing me how to cook a pot of steamed rice. He was trying to get me. He was trying to change my diet. That must have been 25 years ago. Jim Pride was amazing. Sorry, he passed away. Greg Stanley, we just did a podcast interview him. And because of you, I'm going to contact the Dale Carnegie Center and get a podcast interview with one of their instructors to talk about the importance of taking this, because it is just so important. And the pacing.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Once I read the Iacocca book, I said, if this stand-up guy, Iacocca, if he read it and he says that that's the best course he ever took, I'm going to take it too. And that was in 87 or 80, something like that.
What was the name of his book? I read that too. What was the name of his book?
I can't remember.
The GM book was GM was My Years with GM by Alfred Sloan. That was probably one of the most genius books I've ever written. And Lee Iacocca was another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. So what percent of your practice is orthodontics?
About 70, 75.
And what percent of it is just cash and no form of insurance subsidy or payment?
100.
100%.
Well, maybe 99.
And 99%.
A few people that have some sort of insurance.
And would you say that since you don't have an insurance-driven practice, that you have lower overhead than your peers who are in most of the social schemes, or is that not a factor?
I don't know. They just work faster.
They just work faster.
They work faster to accommodate that, yes.
So you would say that by not having insurance, you get to work at your own pace and you not on a treadmill.
Yeah, well, yes. The regulations here are that you cannot delegate as much as you can in the U.S. or people can in Germany. You have to do much more work yourself. There are no expanded duty dental assistants, things like that.
And do you think that's better or worse for the patient or the doctor?
I think for the patient, it doesn't matter. I think the patient would just as well be treated by an expanded duty dental assistant as by a doctor. I know dental assistants that can take better impressions than their doctors can. So no, I don't think that is of any relevance for the patient. But for the government and maybe for the dentists, the dentists are afraid that they're losing work, so they don't want to give away any of it.
By the way, where did you learn perfect English? I mean, you don't even have an accent. What was your native tongue?
Well, I can speak with an accent too, no problem. If you prefer me speaking with an accent, I can speak with an accent. I learned my English in school in Bethesda, Maryland. And as a little boy, my dad was in medical research, so we were back and forth to the U.S. Quite often. My family was. I studied in Germany, other than my two brothers who are MDs who studied in the States, because I was the oldest, and in Germany there's no tuition fee. So they made me stay while the family was in Newark, in New Jersey, near New York. My dad worked for Rush. Now they're all in California with Genentech. So my dad worked for Rush. They had their big facility in Nutley, New Jersey, with about 6,000 employees there. And the family was there too. So I visited in the off season on the holidays.
That's just amazing English. That is just so amazing. And also what you tell, since 80% of reviewers are Americans, I personally think the most exciting dental meeting on earth is always the Cologne meeting.
Nice.
Do you agree or disagree?
Well, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to see what's new in gear and toys, Cologne is great. If you want to have CE courses, I think there's hardly any better meetings than you can get in the States.
Exactly. So let's be clear that the States has amazing seminars by dentists teaching the stuff. Cologne, you go to their convention, they don't have lectures. It's just a trade booth.
It's very few, and the few that they have are all in German, so it's not geared to the international dentist attending.
But what?
It's just toys and technical stuff, things like that.
But the other huge difference that some of the Americans might not see the subtle is you go from one meeting to another in the United States. Like you go from the Hinman to the Yankee to Chicago. A meeting's a meeting, and they have the same vendors, same booths. But the Cologne meeting is every other year, and so many of the biggest companies in the world time their product cycle to release at that show. So when you go to that show, most of the people are showing you for the first time what they've had in the oven for 2 years.
Exactly.
And it's just so exciting to see.
Yes, that is right.
And the other thing about it is when you're an American and you go to other countries, you don't know their language and this and that. Sometimes it can get hard and overwhelming or whatever. But when Cologne has 100,000 non-Germans show up for a week, everybody knows you don't know what's going on, and the whole city kowtows to you. The whole place caters to you. When you go get on the train, everyone's helping you. And to go to Germany when they're expecting 100,000 foreigners who don't know what's going on, the whole city kowtows to you. It's just so fun and cool.
Yes, it's a very cool meeting, and you get the worldwide developments. I mean, you get the Asians. It is amazing what is happening in Asia in dental technology. They're not only copying the stuff, they're really inventing stuff too, and it's not just the Japanese.
Oh yeah, you'll be standing at a booth, and one guy next to you is from Dubai, the other guy is Korea, the other guy is Japan. I mean, it's just the whole world is there.
Right.
And I've met a lot of millionaires who made $1 million by going to Cologne because they saw something neat and came back to America with the U.S. distribution rights because the company they bought it from said, we won't even be thinking of America for 5 or 10 years. And so they'll give them $1 for the U.S. distribution rights. And if they sell this many by 5 years, they keep it or whatever, and just come back and then got the product into the hands of some key opinion leaders and some clinicians, or got Gordon to approve it at CRA, and next thing you know, they got a really hot product on their hands. Yeah, amazing. So what else about ortho? So let's go back to the basics. I'm just trying to get it done. So you're talking to thousands of kids under 30. They've never done an ortho course. Where would you start? You said Rick DePaul's $500 CDs.
Get the DVDs. Get a feeling for it, and then if you need a course where somebody looks over your shoulder, go take one. It doesn't really matter. But in the end, try to be independent, not get boxed into one system where one system fits everything. It will not work. You need to keep your mind open, shouldn't be boxed in. And it doesn't have to be ortho. It can be anything. Have them read The Long Tail, the book by Chris Anderson. Have them read The Long Tail and find out that there's niches everywhere, and the internet opens these up. That's what I show with my videos, is my niche is very, very small. I could not live from the people that come with in a radius of 20 kilometers or 20 miles. That would not be enough to feed my office. I have people coming from farther away, much farther away, taking long trips to come to me, and that's only possible because they can get the information on the internet and learn about it and find me. And that's the cool thing about the internet, and that is the story of the long tail, where even in the very, very small niches you can exist. And for the young graduates, if they want to be combative and fight it out in a big city, they will have to have a USP. They will have to have a unique selling proposition. Whether it's 50 sorts of tea like the crazy Australian Paddy Lunt serves his patients, and has no sign on the door and things like that. I've had that before too. I had no sign on the door because I had too many patients. I had people walking in that I could not serve, so I took down my sign. And you had to know that where I am, unless otherwise you wouldn't find me. So there's different ways, but they need this USP, and they have to work on it from the first day that they can. Start in school. Work at it right now. Take the example of this German girl, this medical student that wrote this book about the gut.
What's it called? The Gut by who?
The Inside Story by Julia, like the Alfa Romeo Giulia, Giulia Enders, Enders. It was a top-selling book in Germany for months. It's been translated to lots of different languages, including English. So you can get it on Amazon. But get the story. She has her own website. I mean, as a medical student, writing a book because some of your peers talked to you and said, you know, Julia, you're studying medicine. We don't know anything about poo. Why don't you educate us about it? And then from this, she developed this book. Imagine her career. She'll have open doors anywhere she goes. She's the woman to talk to about anything that has to do with your bowel, with your microbiome, things like that. All the bacteria living for you or against you in your bowel. She has it made, and she started out early, and anybody else can start out at the same time at the early age. You know, take pictures as many as you can, more than you'll ever need, from your patients, from things you do that you can use later on.
I want to hold your feet.
And build it. Do a blog, do videos, whatever. Do a video, what's happening in dental school. Educate your peers or educate anybody who might consider going into dental school. Show them what the life is as a young dentist. You know, there's so many avenues that you can go and you can use this. And I'm absolutely convinced if you want to succeed, you will need the internet in the future, definitely. So start building it now. If you, as you said, 23 videos, 1 million views. I started, 8 or 9 years ago with one single video, and now I'm trying to do at least one a month. I'm not that far, but I have lots of ideas on videos that I can make, and I have a much smaller market than you have. I mean, we have 100 million German speaking. You have 300 plus million speaking U.S. English. So I think you can succeed on your own if you find your niche. You need to find your niche. And here in Europe, at least in Germany and Switzerland, it's not implants. I placed my first implant in 1983. It's still in the mouth. In 1991, when I had my team start day, the CEO of Nobel Biocare Germany came and visited me in my office, as he did with all the other offices that started on Nobel implants at that time, and he was a dentist. Today, it's only salespeople in those companies. Okay, and everybody's doing implants. There's no way you can differentiate yourself by doing implants. Here, it might be different in the U.S. You claim that's only 10 or 15% of the dentists doing those. Here, it's it's much more.
You know, the thing I'm jealous about Europe versus the United States is people, when they talk about Europe, they never talk about Europe. They talk about Germany versus Switzerland, France, Greece, you know what I mean? But in the United States, they lump the whole thing into the United States. And the United States is really just like Europe. It's a dozen different countries, all rolled under one flag. And I think it's so funny when I go to a foreign country and someone will say, oh, yeah, I visited the United States. I'm like, where did you go? And you find out they flew into the Greater New York meeting for 5 days and never left Manhattan. And I'm sitting here thinking, wow, you saw Manhattan and you think you're in the United States, because that is the rarest part of all the United States. Hey,
Howard, what is the trip that you would advise a dentist from Europe to take, when he takes his family of 4 to the U.S.? What is the number one thing he should do?
Oh my gosh, I would say fly into Los Angeles and go up through Hollywood, all that, drive all the way over to Vegas and the Grand Canyon, and then drive up to through Salt Lake or Montana. I mean the Grand Canyon, the mountains, I mean there's so much.
We're on the same page, but I would advise him to take the trip on the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
Go on a raft, take 10 days, and go on the bottom.
That is the coolest trip in the world. On these pictures and videos, are you just doing that with the video on your iPhone, or are you buying special equipment? What do you technically make these videos with?
I have a DSLR. I have a DSLR, a Canon DSLR that takes videos. I use that with an external microphone. And I usually, the newer ones I do with a green screen. I do it with natural lighting. I do it when the sun's out. I have very good light at my home. So I put a green screen behind me, and I do it with natural lighting, an external microphone.
Whenever I film
and the clinical ones that I'm doing, those are not on the on this channel. Oh yes, the one with the 500,000 clicks. That's a clinical video too. I now use a GoPro that I stick to my operatory light.
You stick a GoPro on your operatory light?
I take the GoPro out of its case, and just the GoPro itself. And I use the sticky tapes that have two sides, two adhesive sides, dual-sided adhesives, where you could put posters on the wall and you can remove them without any residues. I have that on my operatory light, and I glue the GoPro to the operatory light. I stick it on the operatory light, and when I'm done, it's just a twist. It's off.
Wow, I haven't heard of anyone doing that. And how
centered?
Yeah. How far will that video in the mouth?
Well, you look up this. I'll send you a link if you want to a video that I've done, or you look it up on my. No, you can't. I have to send you a link. It's not.
I wish you would. I start a thread on Dentaltown. If you made your first post, it'd be your first post. You've been a member of Dentaltown since 2005.
No, it wouldn't be my first post. It would, but it would be a first video. Yeah.
Will you make a post with that link? I've never heard of anyone using a GoPro in dentistry.
I just filmed me taking out 2 upper wisdom teeth
with a GoPro.
With a GoPro
on your overhead light.
From the first shot until the patient sits up.
Oh my God! Please, will you post that link on Dentaltown?
I'll send it to you. You can post it.
How come you don't want to post it?
Nobody would read it.
Oh my gosh, they would. Okay, send it to me and I'll post it.
It was taken with a GoPro, and then the resolution of the GoPro is pretty good. You know, you can resize it. I do that with my iMac.
Okay, explain to someone listening who doesn't know what a GoPro is. Tell them what a GoPro is.
GoPro is the camera that every kid has on his helmet when he snowboards, mountain bikes, surfs the waves or whatever. It's this action cam that the American invented, and that you can now buy for about a tenth of the price as Chinese copy. And the GoPro company, the shares are collapsing. No, but it's still a good technology.
Why are the shares collapsing?
Because they don't have a successor. They don't have a technology that they can build upon.
It was a one horse race.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it's very small. It's very light. It's only 84 grams when you just have the basic camera. So your operatory light does not sag. Yeah. I mean, it's far from ideal, no question about it. You have this bright spot in the middle of the face, which is too bright for the GoPro, but still it works. I think the message comes across. I'll send you a link. You can look at this video of the upper wisdom teeth, and then you can decide. And then the other problem for the people in the U.S., of course, is they don't understand the language, of the video that's been posted.
Hey, we're out of time. I can't believe that was an hour. That was the fastest hour I've ever done a podcast. I want to return the question to you. If some of my homies here in America were going to go to Europe, what would be the ideal vacation in Europe?
Going to the Dolomites, Cortina d'Ampezzo. It depends on what they want to do. Skiing, winter sports, I'm not into those. I cannot say anything about this. I'm a dentist. I cannot risk breaking any of my limbs. But in the summertime, if they like to go hiking in Cortina d'Ampezzo. That's the Italian Dolomites, close to South Tyrol, which is also very nice. In Germany, depends on whether you are more into lakes, flat countryside, or if you want to go into the mountains too.
I want to ask you a question that I perceived while in Switzerland, and maybe I just a bad perception or whatever. Does Switzerland seem to be more German where it touches German, and more Italian where it touches Italy, and more French when it touches France? Do you see Switzerland kind of more influenced by the border of the country, depending on what town you're in? Or do you not really see that?
I would say it is probably true for the Italian part, but for the German part, the Swiss Germans are very, very keen to differentiate and guard themselves from the Germans. That's
What about the French border?
The same towards the French. There's a love-hate relationship.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, is that right?
Nobody waited for me to come here.
Nobody what?
Nobody waited for me.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Do you feel kind of an outcast being a German moving to their country? Do you feel like you're an immigrant?
Yeah, sure, I'm an immigrant. No question about it. Sure, and I am. And I knew that beforehand.
And do you feel that way at like your dental meeting, if you go to a dental meeting?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You feel like you're an outsider?
Yes.
Huh. Well, one thing I want to say as an American going over there, I mean, I always tell the American, whenever the Americans are against something in Europe, you always know they never left the United States. But I still think I've been all around the world. The most advanced societies I've ever seen in my life were Germany, Switzerland, all of Scandinavia. I mean, Denmark, Norway, Sweden. I mean, when people are against, like, say, socialism, I'm like, dude, have you ever been to a socialist country? It runs like a Swiss clock. It's like a Mercedes. It's like a Porsche. And the people over here are saying it. They're saying it like it's a bad thing, and they've never left Kansas. It's like maybe you should quit bad-mouthing socialism and go to Denmark for a week, go to Switzerland for a week, then come back to Oklahoma and tell me what you were saying again. I mean, it's just...
Or go to Sweden. Sweden is more socialist than any of the others.
But, I mean, I just think those societies, they're just the cleanest, the safest, the most organized, the most well-ran. And the other thing that's funny about Germans is to hear them complain about a train being late like a minute and a half. It's like, have you ever gone to a U.S. airport? The flight was canceled. I mean, you feel like there's a God if the plane shows up 30 minutes late. The Germans' expectations are they're just so high.
No. It's not their expectations. It's their experiences. 20 years ago, the German train would have an advertisement where they had a train crushing through, a snow pile, and say, we always come through, no matter what the weather is. And in the last years, we've had train breakdowns or cancellations popping up everywhere when it's gotten too cold because they saved so much people and money on maintenance that they couldn't run when it was too cold. And in the summertime, the air conditionings in the trains would break down because they hadn't been serviced correctly. So, it used to be a lot better. And it's it is not the same as it used to be. So people are annoyed, and they have reason to be annoyed because they know it could be better than it is today. And that goes for Switzerland as well. It's the same story here. They've cut down maintenance for about the past 8 to 10 years, and now they have to, get more and more subsidies to be able to compensate that and bring it up to the standard that everyone here is used to.
Okay, we're 6 minutes over time, so I'm going to ask this question last. You don't have to answer. You don't want to. I can cut the tape. They say you never ask about sex, religion, politics, but Americans are always asking. They're always wondering. We read things that the euro will fall apart. That like Greece was going to go off the euro. My specific question to you: 10 years from now, will the EU, Brussels, and the EU currency, will those still be there 10 years from now, or do you see that breaking apart with countries like Greece?
What I know for certain, what I would bet on, is that 10 years from now, the Swiss franc will still exist. Switzerland will not be a member of the EU. And it will depend on how Germany behaves. I think it could be. And, the swing to the right that you have and that people in Europe have too. All the countries are so nearing or so leaning to the right now. And therefore, it's difficult to say. But it could be that the euro is split up into two different ones. One for the northern part, for the economically stable and more prosperous countries, and the other for the southern part, where they will just need to devalue their currency in order to be able to exist and pay their people.
And you know how it looks to me sitting on the other side and not knowing a thing about it? You know how it looks to me? It's funny because America has states like Kentucky, like your Greece, that have lost money every year since the beginning of time, and no one blinks about knowing you're going to have a lot of extra cash from Connecticut, and you're going to have to send a lot of cash to Kentucky.
Right.
That's just something we always do. But it seems like when Germany wants to transfer wealth to Greece, that they want it as a loan and be paid back, whereas America just says, okay, you're going to have a couple of states that are always going to run short. And
well, it is not a United States yet. And if these developments towards the right continue, it will take much longer until they're there. And we don't have one language or two languages. I mean, you have English and Spanish, but we have so many different languages, and people cannot understand each other. I mean, there's no German can understand what the guy from Greece says, unless he himself has some ancestors or family there. And the Germans don't understand the French, and the French don't understand the English, and the Italian, and Portuguese, and the Danish, and Czech, and Polish, and so forth. They're all talking different languages. It's very difficult.
What is the most international language spoken amongst the EU?
I'm absolutely sure it's English.
So the British English, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, seriously, Richard, thank you so much at the end of a long day to spend your time with me on Skype. It has been so fun, so informative, and nobody's done any online CE on lingual ortho. If you could do that, and I could see so many courses from you, one on just internet marketing with YouTube, or lingual braces, whatever. But seriously, thank you so much for spending an hour with me today.